Good evening and welcome to GPVWC from Mexico. It's the third of four legs at Mexico City. And we have Superlights, of course, as we do every second Tuesday on the calendar. Joining me this week is Stephen Lexow. Stephen, great to have you alongside. What are you expecting from qualifying, just what's come up?
Well, I expect it to be very close. We've seen it last week. In FS1, it's been very, very close. It's a short track, so yeah, we might see a surprise pole setter today.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what a surprise it would be if it wasn't one of the top three in the championship, because we have an incredible championship battle coming into the penultimate round. This is the penultimate round. We've only got Brazil after this in 2 weeks' time. Luke Maguire currently top of the standings, 193 points, but then Shimon Frelick and Jan Granqvist both tied on 190 points. 3 points between all three drivers. And it really could go either way across the last two races. Granqvist won the last time out in Japan as well. His championship rivals not having such a good time of it, but in practice, it was his standing teammate Jake Dennehan, already won this season in Italy, who was on top. So, you know, he could be the spoiler and he could very much help Jan Granqvist this tonight.
Yeah, let's see. We are into the qualifying session now. And we already see a few guys on the hard tires. We have Luke Maguire, Sandeep Singh, Moritz Kropp, Louis Bickers, Pascal Polens, and Chris Butcher now on the hard compound, or on the medium compound tires rather. So we already see a split there. Quite a few guys actually on the medium. So yeah. It looks like the softest of
season. We've seen quite a lot this season. THR have gone on the medium tires, Stephen, but to see, as you said, Moritz Kropp in the TTF, to see Lewis Bickers, to see Sandeep Singh going on the medium, Pascal Polens as well. That's a bit of a shock, isn't it?
Yeah, it looks like they might have some overheating issues, like we had in FS2. So that could be a medium hard or a medium hard for them. But let's see. Well, we have our first guy going on to the fast lap. Jan Granqvist, one of our championship contenders. Being very strong this year, missing out for 2 rounds. Actually won the last race here in Suzuka. So let's see what he can do now. We expect the lap times to be in the low 15s or high 14s. Let's see what Jan can do on his banker.
Yeah, smooth as ever from Jan Grenfell through the first sector, but not into the sector now. He's going to go through the S's. Perfect car control needed for Rio. He just drift up wide, close to the white lines actually, Stephen. But yeah, you can see how much he's pushing straight away. You probably get 3 or 4 flying laps in this 15-minute session.
Well, with these cars, it could be up to 4. It's a pretty short lap for these cars. So, as well, if you abort a lap, you'll for sure get 4 in. So let's see what this banker lap is gonna be. It's a 1:15.2, already beaten by Luke McGuire on the medium compound tire. Very strong lap there.
And then Denahan goes top as well in the second Super Venturi. So Denahan faster so far without setting the purple sector. McGuire way faster in sector 2 and sector 3. Actually level in sector 2 with Denahan, faster in sector 3 by 0.2, but 0.4 down in the first sector. Maybe those medium tyres not working so well at the traction zones in the first sector. We're looking at the Dry racing car that's about to come over the line. That's Persis Miro, who keeps it shortest route to the line and goes, for the moment, P11 for Dry racing. So Persis Miro opens his account as we switch back to the THR of Luke McGuire.
I think McGuire has actually gone for a high downforce setup because he was quite slow in the first one, lost almost 0.4 there, but was fastest in the second and third sector. So I think he might run more downforce than the other guys, which should help the tire wear and the tire heating in theory in the race. So he's gone quite different to the others. We shall see. That could be quite dangerous on the first lap.
And that's gonna hurt him if that is true though in a race down that long straight when the RS comes into play as we look at some of the other cars coming through. So at the moment only Chris Butcher not making a time yet, also Tom Vandervoort in second drag not making a time yet. As it stands after the first lap, Jake Denahan top 1:14.9, the only person in the 1:14s, followed by Luke McGuire 1:15.0, the Jan Grankvist another 0.2 off that in third, Shimon Frelick, the other championship contender, P4, Maurice Crop P5 for TTF, Pascal Polenz to R2F 6th and 7th, Sandeep Singh there, then Lewis Bickers returned last race, got second, great return in the road blue ahead of Dylan Platt, who's at 2-6 in a row, and Joseph Hurlock in the red arrow P10 at the moment. Plenty of time to go, 10 minutes, at least 3 laps maybe if people can hold it all together, and Denahan has not left it. In fact, he is just leaving it.
With the guys leaving now, it's 5 minutes gone on the timer, so that would be for 3 runs. But yeah, if the second run isn't as fast as you would like it to be, you can always abort it and have a fourth one later on.
So we go then. So we've got the Super Venturi starting a lap. Take us through a lap, Stephen.
Well then, DRS wide open for one of the longest straights in the whole calendar. That will be pretty intense towards the start. Then first 3 corners, be sure to be right on the edge here, and open the corners very nicely, which he does. It's very important to get a good traction. Now it's important to brake early, stay as far to the left in this corner to open up the right-hander here. Use as much track on the exit as you can. And now for this tricky double right-hander. Very important to get a good exit, which he could have done a little better. And now the S's. At this point I expect the cars to be flat out throughout the whole section. Looks good, DRS open once again. And now this is quite a tricky corner. Don't hit the anti-cut on the inside. Go to the right again and be as slow as you can here to open up the penultimate corner. Again on the outside, go to the inside, that was too much road on the outside.
So that's the third in the championship, then Grandfist in the wall on his second flying lap, should be able to recover from that. We'll get back to the pits and get back out towards the end of the session. But that's a shocker. He was He was pretty much level with his first lap through the first two sectors. As Frelick goes up to P2 now. Frelick goes up to
Yeah,
P2, only a tenth off the fastest time that Jake Dennehan set, and Dennehan's out there on a set of mediums now.
yeah. So he thinks that he has the possibility to beat his time on the medium compound tires, which would give him an advantage.
Ooh, big slide.
Big slide, which could give him an advantage in terms of the strategy, as the medium compound tires should be better with a heavy car.
But he's down through him as a sector with that slide he had through the S's, and probably won't improve on this lap. She'll have to go again if he wants to get that done. In fact, he may just come straight into the pits. In fact, he does. So Frelick with a good lap time there, but on the soft tyres, 1:15.0, exactly a tenth off Dennehan's first lap time. But Maguire's sitting pretty, really, isn't he, in P3 on those medium tyres? If tyre wear is going to be that much of an issue, it is worth pointing out there's a chance of rain for the race, not the start, but most certainly a chance midway through, isn't there, Stephen? So that could also come into the strategic play as well.
Of course, the longer you can go, the longer you have a chance to go to the rain. But I think in terms of the tires, it might be a temperature-related thing. We could see it in FS1 and FS2. Especially in FS2, the tires were overheating when you pushed. So maybe with a heavy car, it's the same here in the Superlights car.
Yeah, but and the number of people who have gone onto the mediums this time, like I said, THR have gone onto the mediums quite a lot in qualifying this year. It's been their sort of gimmick, if you like. But the number of people that have attempted it so far, like even Mateusz Dabrowski down in P16 at the moment, Hyper Esports, he's on the mediums at the moment as well. So just to run through while we're waiting for some of the laps to get finished, is Dennehan, Frelick, Maguire, Grankfist, Crop, Butcher, Platt, Poland, Singer, Vickers top 10. All three of the championship protagonists in top 4, and all pretty much on similar times as well. Grankfist is slowest so far. Here is Luke Maguire on his latest lap, again on the mediums. He was only 1.5 tenths down on provisional pole after his first lap. Here comes into the final sector into the baseball stadium. Oh, a bit of a hop on the curb, runs wide, and that will probably put pay to his chances. He was fastest in the middle sector, but again 4 tenths down on the ultimate best through sector 1, and gives up the ghost. He'll go out again in the last 5 minutes. 5:22 Scott.
Yeah, I think he actually got a track cut there going into the stadium section. He got very wide, and that should give you a track cut, as we know. Go into a Formula car.
Yeah, that'll be Sandy Pshin going up to P7 with a 1:15.514. So personal best in the last 2 sectors, not as fast in sector 1 though. Not a lot of people actually improving in sector 1 at the moment.
Yeah, maybe trying a little bit too hard in the first 3 corners. When you go in too fast, you get out of the rhythm, and that happens pretty fast. So maybe they're going a little too hot now.
Look
We shall
how
see.
aggressive on turning Lewis Bickers was there on his latest lap. He is one of those who've gone personal best in the first sector, 26.6. That's still about 2 tenths down on the ultimate best set by Jake Dennehan. Into the middle sector, 29.8. It's not quite what Lewis Bickers would want in the second Royal Blue. He's not going to be able to affect his teammate or help his teammate with a lap time like that. He'll probably only jump up a few tenths. In fact, he doesn't even jump up any positions. A personal best that stays P10 for Lewis Bickers.
Yeah, and you can already see a big gap between P10 and P11. Most of the guys outside of the top 10 are on the soft tires right now, so with most of the guys in the top 10 running the mediums, I don't think that we will see many soft runners at the start of the race.
No, so at the moment it's going to be Dennehan because he set his fastest lap on softs, unless I'm mistaken. It'll be Frelick, it'll be Grankfist, and Dylan Platt at the moment. That's like the 4 who are going to have to start on the softs, as we see a car with no front wing. And that is Dan Hook for TR Geeks, P17 at the moment. back with Luke Maguire then in the THR, launching himself into the middle sector again. I think just a bit wide might have ruined that lap again. 27.9, so actually his slowest first sector of the session so far. That won't do anything to help him on his quest for pole. And yeah, he did lose a lot of time in the middle, again possibly an empty damage.
Yeah, so let's see if he has enough fuel. He should have the time to go into the pits again and get on another first set, which he does. So he's actually done quite a few tries here.
While he pits, Tom Vanderborg's just gone P11, the best of the rest, if you like, for drag racing, 116.1. Still half a second down, though, on Bickers, who is the last of the medium tyre runners. So there is a gulf, like you said, Stephen, between the top 10 and the rest, as we've gone up to 19 now, as Daigoro Starangi joins.
So
2 minutes to go. There's the drag racing car. This time it's just mirrored as they come across a line and did not improve stage P15. A lot though of the big guns back in the pits, coming back out of the pits. That's including Jake Denham, who's on provisional pole. That's including Shimon Frederick, who remains on the soft tyres. Maguire's just left on the mediums. Grankfist still on soft, and Crop still on the mediums. That's the top 5, and Denham's still trying to improve his lap time to start on pole with medium tyres.
yeah, at the moment, I'm not really sure if you want to start on pole position here. I started on pole in FS2 and we got jumped by Jack Mayer. And in FS1, the guy who started in P6, Owen McGorry, actually got into the lead. And those cars here have even more slipstreams, so starting on pole here might not even be the best chance you can give yourself.
So does that make it then even more crucial, some of these guys who have gone on to the mediums?
Yeah, of course. And I think Jake will not have thought that so many guys would be on the mediums, otherwise he wouldn't have switched midway through qualifying. And now he will not be happy that his first time was so good. As you can see, a Super Venturi car now. Jake Denham. Can he beat his time on the medium compound tires? He would be not only the only guy in the 14s, but he would be the only guy in the 14s with a medium, if it stays like this. Through the first 3 corners. Very much on the limit. And the first sector is not a personal best.
It's about 10th down, in fact, on his personal best, just while he's going through the middle sector. We've got Tom Parker up to P11. Welcome back, TP. Great lap to go. P11 still 4 cents down on the top 10 those. Dylan Platt gives up the ghost on his latest lap. That's his qualifying done. Into the zeros now. Sandeep Singh won't improve from P8, but ahead of Pascal Polenz, his teammate at the moment. Back to Jake Denham through the middle sector. What can Jake Denham do? Another. Yeah, he's not as fast on his mediums as he is on the soft, so Jake Denham will not improve. He will start on the soft. Frederick, though, personal best in the middle sector, so too for Jan Grenfist.
Yeah, some guys switched back to the softs actually. I think Jan tried going there, and Jan Grunquist is going on to pole position now with a 114.8.
Yeah, the only person to improve, because Frederick couldn't improve, went slower on his lap, and Maguire went slower on his lap as well. So, crucially, Super Venturi, both on the front row of the grid. Jan Grunquist, 3 points off the championship lead, will be on pole, and his teammate alongside, maybe they can go formation flying into the first corner. But Luke Maguire, P4, will have slipstream, and whilst his 2 championship rivals are on soft tyres, Luke Maguire is on the mediums. Crucial strategy to come, no doubt. Let's just run through the top 10 in qualifying then. And as we said, it's Jan Grenfist alongside Super Venturi teammate Jake Denham. 1 and 2 on the grid. Shimon Frelick, P3 for Royal Blue Racing. Luke Maguire on the mediums, THR, P4. Dylan Platt, great qualifying for him. 2 6s in a row in Singapore and Japan. He's P5 for TR Gates Energy. Maurice Kropp for TTF, the second driver on the medium tyres. Fantastic qualifying for him. P6. Pascal Polenz, P7, also on the mediums, and also Chris Butcher in the second THR. Lewis Pickers, P9, ahead of Sandeep Singh, who got down to 10th late on the session. Then we got the second half of the grid. Tom Parker on his return to Superlights. Red Arrow Racing, P11. Tom Vanderbilt for Drag Racing, P12. Joseph Herlock in the second Red Arrow, P13. Mateusz Dabrowski, P14. Then it's Mateusz Gazowski in the second, Hyperion down in P15. Persis Miriam, P16 for Drag Racing. And Silver Joffe, TTF, P17. Van Hut in the Seoul, TR Geese is P18. And Daigoro Starengi will be at the back, P19. So we will pop off for our usual break during the warm-up. We'll be back in just over 5 minutes time to get ready for the Mexican Superlights. Welcome back to Mexican Superlights. It is a long race on the way, plenty of laps to 2:59 as you can see, of the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Stephen Lexow alongside me tonight, which is beautiful because we have a racing driver's insight into the circuit. We've already had a bit through qualifying about the tyres and the overheating problems that we're going to face, and we've seen that the medium tyre was the tyre of choice for most people in the top 10 in qualifying. Steve, and just remind us how crucial that could be in the race as they start forming up on the grid.
Well, it would be actually a question if they want to do 1 or 2 stops. Obviously, the 1 stop is easier on the medium compound tires. You can stretch the first in a little bit more and then go on to the, I guess, much preferred hard tire. So at the start, the soft might be a little bit better for the front row, but I guess the slipstream would be a little too strong. So in FS1 we went 6 wide or 5. No, we went 5 wide into the first corner. So let's see if we can make it 4 wide here again.
We'll wait to confirm the tyre choices, but we know that the top 3 all qualified with their fastest laps on the soft tyre. Also Dylan Platt in P5. But it looks like every other driver, all 15 other drivers, are on those medium tyres, which just confirms really how big an issue the tyre heat or the overheating of the tyres is going to be. Cars starting to form on the grid, and we are away for the formation lap. So let's take you through the starting grid for the Mexican Superlights. It's an all Super Venturi front row. Jan Grankvist, 3 points off championship lead in front of teammate for the round Jake Dennehan, winner already in Italy this season, followed by Shimon Frelick, also on 190 points in third, and Luke Maguire championship lead at P4. Then it's Dylan Platt P5, the last of those starting on softs. Mike Croft, great qualifying for him, TTF P6, Pascal Polis P7, and Chris Butcher P8. Lewis Vickers, P9, second last time out, ahead of Sandy Singer, rounds out top 10. And then it's welcome back Tom Parker, P11, alongside Tom Van Voort for drag racing. Joseph Herlock in the second red arrow, P13. Mateusz Dabrowski heads a Hyperion Esports, 14-15. Mateusz Kozlowski behind 8th last time out. Perseus Mirren in the second drag, P16. Then it's Silverjoff there, Dan Hurton by Goro Starengi, bringing up the rear of the pack. And yeah, a shorter grid this time, not quite getting to 20 drivers, which means we've got about half a lap before we get underway. Stephen, that you can talk us through exactly what will happen if it does start raining halfway through.
Well, unfortunately, during the season, R32 made a little update considering the track temperatures, so that makes the tires very tricky in wet conditions. 2 weeks ago I was driving in Super League and the tires were only good for 13 laps around Suzuka, so I guess when it starts raining we are going to see a lot of stops.
So just having a look at the tyres, Maurice Croft broke hard tyres in P6, so that has updated from the graphics earlier. So hards for Maurice Croft, also Dabrowski, Gazowski, Moran and Joffre down the grid. So Croft really going for something different, and in fact I think it's just updated to mediums. Thought that was interesting considering he had qualified on the mediums, so that's updated now. But the forward back, definitely on the hards. Let's get ready then. Mexico Superlights all Super Venturi front row, the 3 championship protagonists all together in the top 4. Just waiting for the lights to come on. There's 1, there's 2, 3, 4 and 5 Mexico Superlights. Let's go racing. I tell you what, it's a fantastic start from third, isn't it? For Szymon Frelick, who is already up alongside the leader. They're going to get close. Frelick onto the grass already as Granqvist starts squeezing. And the Superman shows, oh, there's contact between the two. They're both on the same amount of points in the championship. And contact between Frelick and Granqvist. They both go wide. And look at Maguire on the medium tyres saying thank you very much. Happy Christmas early in October. And now Frelick has got a great drive from that wide line. Frelick into P2. Denahan's all gone and Granqvist back around the outside. Way wide contact between Maguire and Frelick. And all getting elbows out in the championship battle already on lap 1. Maguire having set up for third. Is Denahan from Frelick, Maguire, Dylan Platz crossbidding all of this up to P4. And Granqvist side by side with Polenz now has really lost out from pole position.
Yeah, was very, very aggressive. So paid the price now. Went a little too far and losing those spots, especially on the soft compound tire, is very bad because he should have used that to just drive away into the distance, and now he's in the traffic. That will really hurt him.
Oh, I'm sure there'll be some conversations about this after the race between all 3 of them, contact between all 3 of them. Denahan, look, 8 tenths already out in front. Frelick, we saw was pretty feisty going down the outside into turn 1. Granqvist already then back up to Dylan Platt, and Dylan Platt goes way out of the way in defence. So Granqvist easily through in a Super Venturi, looked fast in qualifying down the straight. Here goes Chris Butcher, by the way, up the inside of Pascal Polenz. Can he get that move done around the outside turn 2 and back down the inside turn 3? A bit of contact as Polenz starts losing control of the car. That forces Vickers onto the brakes as he tries to get through past Butcher. And look at Moritz Kropp trying to fight back as well after a poor start. So it's all dicey, traction looking difficult all the way through the grid. And the concertina effect in the fights are just bringing all sorts of messy action together as 2, 3, 4 or 5 cars even getting side by side. Denahan still from Frelick, 1.5, 1.6 that gap is now. Then Maguire P3, Granqvist 4, and that's something I think is Singh. I think it's Sandeep Singh into the barriers. I don't know whether there was contact there, but Sandeep Singh way into the barriers, damage. And yeah, he's back onto the track, but I think he's about to get overtaken by Starengi and will have to pit. Disastrous for Sandeep Singh.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of contact, like we had here right now. So now the top 2 drivers on soft compound tires, with Luke Maguire hanging in there, staying in the DRS of Simon Frelick, which would be very important. If he could stay in that DRS, he could just let Simon tow him around the racetrack, which would also help him, because they are pretty high on downforce, while we have Moritz Kropp going down the inside now and taking the position away from Tom Parker, who keeps it safe for now. As we have a yellow in sector 2, which could only be Sandeep Singh.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right about Luke Maguire, though. Staying in that DRS is going to be crucial for him as Van der Voort comes under pressure from Kozlovsky. But yeah, here's a replay then. I think this is going to be of Sandeep Singh, isn't it? Yeah, in the mid-sector. I think he's probably going to retire now.
He's lost his wheel
already. He's lost wings. Can't quite get the replay to work. But we saw him go off in the background into the S's in the midsection. So not brilliant news for Sandeep Singh, who of course had a podium last time out, P3 in Japan, and he was up to Japan, and Mexico not gone too well for him at all. Still, though, we press on. Dylan Platt coming under pressure already on the soft tyres as Pascal Polenz flies into P5 DRS with DRS assistance as well. Luke Maguire still in DRS range of Szymon Frelick, crucially for him, but Frelick 2 seconds down on Denahan. Denahan is flying, and so is Granqvist. The Super Venturis have got a nice setup going for them at the moment. It's just all down to how long they can make the tyres last.
Yeah, them being so fast early on means that they might be on a two-stopper, using more of the tire right now, as Luke McGuire was fastest in the middle sector last time around, as he is carrying this downforce, and on the straights he can just open the wing and say, okay, I don't lose any time in the straight line. So at the moment it's working perfectly for McGuire.
Interesting to see the mind of a racing driver, a sim racing driver in this situation. You know, we've got one more round after this. They're all in exactly the same part of the race run, and we saw how aggressive they were on lap one. You know, it could have been a disaster for any one of them, but they're all, you know, it's aggressive, it's attack, and it's absolutely be the best of the three, no matter where we are in the championship at this stage, as they all close into each other with DRS.
I think in terms of McGuire, I don't even think that he wants to overtake, as long as the softs are okay for Frelick. The gap shouldn't get too big. Last time around, Frelick was 3 tenths slower than Danahan, which wouldn't be a danger in the driver's standings. Of course, this would be better to win, because there are 25 points for that, but it wouldn't hurt McGuire too much if Danahan would win that race.
Yeah, I was just about to say, is there anything that Danahan can do here to help Grandfish without being, you know, without being untoward? With the, I think Frelick went wide actually at the end of the S's there. You saw him way off to the right hand side, and that helped Luke McGuire in his quest for P2. Yeah, is there anything that Danahan can do really? I guess there's not much. You can't just trundle around when you're that much faster than the rest, can you?
Well, the only thing he can do is extend the gap and look after the tires while doing so.
So back down the straight then of the DRS, and Luke McGuire, yeah, I think you're right, Stephen. He hasn't got the straight line speed, is he, with the setup? Because he's not closing at all with the DRS down the straight there.
You could also see it before with his teammate, Chris Butcher, having a lot of troubles at the start of lap 2. So let's see how he's going to do. As I said, it should be better in the middle sector, because the downforce helps the tires not overheating, which should help him very, very soon. The medium, the advantage of the soft should get less lap by lap. But the problem would be he has to overtake with that top speed. Let's see if he can do that, as he goes a little wide himself now.
Immense pressure for all three of these guys. One mistake could be end of the championship, even with one race left. So, you know, absolutely nose to tail look at that through the baseball stadium, and they're sort of in a race of their own. Poland's 4 seconds down on them already. I think Dan Hutt's in trouble. He's just lost a load of positions in the middle of the track. In fact, he has, he's lost his front wing for the second time tonight. Here comes McGuire then. It's the first time we've really seen him closing in. DRS shifting to the outside now of turn 1. Luke McGuire round the outside of Shimon Frelick. Will they be able to get through nice and cleanly? Yes, they do. A pinch at the apex on the Royal Blue Racing car. And Luke McGuire up into P2, but a bit of a slide will give Frelick a bit more of an invitation maybe down into turn 4. And nothing doing for Shimon Frelick there. So now what Luke McGuire's got to do is he's got to get his foot down through the middle sector. We know how strong he is through there. And in fact, it almost looks as if Frelick's tyres are going already. Looks really squirrely on the traction, Stephen.
Yeah, you can see it in the times. The fastest lap being is 17.2 last time around.
Oh, big moment for Jan Grangfist, almost losing the car as he ran out wide. And managed to regather it, but he's lost a lot of time.
I think the softs are already done. They are almost 1.5 seconds slower than their personal bests, all of them. And now you could see it with Luke McGuire being 3 tenths faster in the middle sector than Danahan in front, and 7 tenths faster than Frelick.
Yeah, you're right. So this is now holding on to make a pit stop, isn't it, rather than achieving ultimate lap time. This is really now hang on to the edge of your seat moment.
Yeah, I think they might be better on the 2-stop if they can get into some clean air, which they wouldn't do at the moment, as a lot of the guys down the field are actually on the medium compound tires, and they are not dying off as much. They were a lot faster at the start of the race, but now they're almost as fast as them. So I think the soft tire already shows to not be the right decision. While we can see Lewis Biggest going down the inside. Not yet, with Chris Butcher being behind them. The problem for Butcher now is that he's got the high wings as well, so in the DRS train he would be pretty lost.
Yeah, and this
Let's
is
see.
Pratt, of course, who's the last of those on the soft tyres and has only really gone. He started 5th and he's made the move up to P4 with all the shenanigans at the start, but he's really got backwards 10 seconds off the lead already. Dylan Flat, and that's just a soft tyres for. He's struggling on those. He's got this Biffy who was actually down in P10 at one point, wasn't he? With all of that mess as well on the opening 2 laps, but he's managed to regather and get up to P7, and it looks as if he's going to be all over Dylan Flat into turn 1. And you're right, look how slow Chris Butcher is in a straight line off the corner compared to
but you can really see the tire drop off. For Dylan Platt, he's the slowest down to P14, and now Biggest is just about surviving. Dylan Platt broke a little too late. Fortunately was able to avoid him, but that has lost him a lot of time, and I think he should pit very, very soon, as he's losing a massive amount of time.
But can they make a 2-stop if they pit now is the question. We've still got 50 laps to go at the end of this race. They've only done 9 on the softs. You know, if the tyre wear is that bad, are they going to be able to do a 2-stop if they pit now?
I don't actually think that it's the wear. I think it's the temperatures on the softs. And that should in theory be a lot better on the harder compound tires. That should be better for overheating.
Got you. So it's the thermal in the tyre. And look at this, Maguire already on the back of Jake Dennehan, 3 seconds up on Frelick, and Dennehan shaking all the way through the final corner. Luke Maguire's going to have a go at him, surely. This is incredible stuff. Almost a second faster on that lap. He was a second faster on that lap. These medium tyres are looking a treat for Luke Maguire.
Yeah, you could see it. Dennehan.
No,
and he loses the front wing.
Oh no! A late move out. I don't know whether the lack of grip caught him by surprise. The fact that Dennehan had to brake earlier than he was expecting, but he lost it on the braking swinging out, and all of a sudden Shimon Frelick is in absolutely a perfect position, and of course that ruins Maguire's long first stint strategy. He's going to have to pit for a new front wing.
Yeah. One guy who is in the prime seat now is Pascal Polens in P4. He was fastest out of the bunch last time around with a 19.2. Dennehan in clean air being 0.6 slower last lap. And now Dennehan might have a little bit of damage. So we shall see. I expect the soft runners to be in quite soon actually if they want to do a 2-stopper. I think the 1-stopper would be quite a stretch if the hard tires don't last the whole race.
So how quickly can Maguire get back to the pit? That's massive for the championship. If nothing happens to Frelick and Grenfest, Luke Maguire with that mistake, and look at this, Frelick pits, Dennehan pits, so the top 2 into the pits.
I see Pascal Polens overtaking for the lead now. Let's see. Grenfest has the DRS as well, and I think he's using more push to pass than Polens.
I'm surprised that they pitted Dennehan first ahead of Grenfest, because it gives, oh look at this, they're going to be side by side out of the pits, aren't they? No, not quite. Frelick has to tuck in Frelick. Surely you put Frelick and Grenfest at the same time. Surely you don't let Frelick have a go at, oh look at this, Dennehan's been caught sleeping and Frelick's found the gap down the inside. Frelick down the inside, and Dennehan's going to have a go back around the outside. Stunning racing from the 2 of them. Frelick gets passed out the pits then, and now he's going to have an undercut opportunity. I know he was ahead of Grenfest anyway, but this gap could large, and I'm really surprised that Grenfest wasn't the one who was pitted first out of the 2 Super Futuris. Dennehan not full time.
Yeah, but those 2 fighting now should help Grenfest, but yeah, I think looking at the sector times, it's very, very slow for Grenfest. 32.0 in middle sectors, his tires are done. You can see Chris Butcher in P3 being 0.6 faster in the middle sector alone.
I'm really shocked. Luke Maguire did make it back, but he's way down the back. He's a long way off any form of the lead. Now Grenfest does pit this time around, so Polens now on his own out in the lead on the alternate strategy. Jan Grenfest pits, and let's see how much time he would have lost to Sean Frelick.
He's on the softs again.
That's interesting. So that I'm surprised by. It's got to be on the medium, surely.
Wait.
I'm with you. It looked like soft, but if he's on the softs, then that's race over. It must be the medium.
Race says medium, so I hope that it's just a visible error, because softs would be the worst decision he could have done now.
Yeah, will hopefully that will rectify itself if it is a UI error, because softs. There you go. He's onto the hards. There you go. Yeah, so I was hoping it'd be medium or hards. It is the hards, and that keeps the race alive. But look how much time he lost.
Even with those guys fighting.
Yeah, exactly. So I'm really surprised they did that. What he does get is he gets that pressure tyre to use at the end of the stint, of course. So after that, then we've got Pascal Polenz in the net lead, having not stopped yet ahead of Chris Butcher. That's a 5-second gap though. So Polenz making use of all of the net around him. And he could be in a very good position by the time we get to the end of the race. Butcher P2, Lewis Vickers P3, Herlock P4 for Red Arrow, ahead of Tom van der Voort, Tom Parker P6, Guzowski 7. Frelick's actually just moved past Guzowski on those fresher tyres. So Frelick now in a good position for the championship, and they're going to go 3 wide though, and Frelick may need to be careful there because Guzowski isn't in the championship, neither is Dennehan. But Dennehan is with, they've hit, that was Guzowski off. And Frelick did well to miss it. Dennehan into the back of Guzowski, and Frelick really heads up driving to avoid the contact there. But Dennehan might get into a bit of trouble for that one, I would think. He's on the back now of Tom van der Voort. Just as I was saying though, Frelick now the lead of the 3 drivers in the championship, moving Glide down to P16, having needed to pit for a new front wing, and that's Dennehan off. Contact with van der Voort, and that's no front wing for Dennehan, and that opens the door up for Frelick to go and try and win this race now. Dennehan off, no front wing, and that comes from quite an aggressive couple of moves, really.
Yeah, pretty unlucky there. Try to squeeze at the exit, and then they got the tires glued together. That will really harm the race of Jake Dennehan, as he just pitted for those tires. So one of the worst things that could have happened.
Just to look back at Maguire is just on a 1:16.8, and he's faster again on this lap, but he's 36 seconds off the lead, which is Polenz. That is about 16 seconds off Shimon Frelick. So let's keep an eye on what Luke Maguire can do. But he's a little bit off strategy, isn't he? Having had to abandon those medium tyres pretty early on. There's Krop up the inside of Dylan Platt for P10. And Platt's going to hang in there and a bit of contact, and Krop just about manages to keep it going. So, just to regather where we are, Frelick P4, Grankfist P5. They're the first of those to have pitted. Maguire down P13, had to pit for a new front wing, and Dennehan has just left the pits, having got a new front wing following contact. Just gonna say thank goodness that the Dennehan Guzowski contact didn't take out Frelick, or indeed Grankfist, who was at the same corner as well.
Yeah, fortunately for the Super Venturi guys, the championship runner is still in it, while we have Vickers and Polenz into the pits. Oh, is it? No, it's just Vickers. So pretty early for the medium compound tire now, so...
Yeah, it is really early.
I don't know if they were going to be able to finish the race on the hard compound tires. So Poland's now on a 19.1, while Frelick in P3 is doing a 17.7, so 1.4 seconds faster for Frelick on that fresh hard tire. While we have Butcher now going down the inside on, that is...
Mateusz Dabrowski for P6.
Dabrowski.
So Butcher has to keep THR's title hopes alive a little bit as well, because obviously THR 330 points going into this race. Royal Blue Racing 317, so only 13 points between the two, and obviously Maguire up and down the order butcher any P6 at the moment. Obviously, that's with pit stops still to go, but Frelick and Vickers in good position, yeah, for Royal Blue to cut that gap.
Yeah, fortunately for Maguire, he crashed before the first one of pit stops where we see
Frelick lost it.
Every time you slide like that, the tires are gonna overheat a little bit more. I mean, the hard compound tire should be better for it, but we shall see. Poland's at the front of the grid is slowly dying off now as well, going down to a 19.5 now. But also Frelick is getting slower while he is overtaking Herlock now. And now he has nothing between him and Poland, but it's 17.5 seconds. So if Poland is able to convert this into a one-stopper, it could well end up winning him the race, while Jan Grandquist is now going for Herlock, and Herlock is not defending himself. The most intelligent thing he can do.
Good driving from Herlock. This is Maurice Scott going around the outside end of Dubrovsky and trying to do a switch, and that's contact. The dummy was no, and then that's more contact. I think that might be Vickers. Vickers got away with it.
No, he's lost his front wing.
Vickers has lost the front wing. So just as I was saying about Royal Blue doing well, Vickers loses front wing in something that completely wasn't his fault. Contact between Dubrovsky and Krop, and it's gone horribly wrong. Innocent bystander, and now he's just trying to get back to the pits, but I'm not sure if he's equal like that. So, not good.
It seems like a lot of those guys are misjudging the braking, because it's been like the fourth time already that somebody went into the other guy under braking.
Oh, look at that contact with Maguire as well now for Krop. No, sorry, it was Joffre, not Krop. It was Joffre with contact with Maguire, but Maguire now back up to P7. So, I mean, this is just, we're only 17 laps in, Stephen, and we've had more twists and turns than a sidewinder stay.
Yeah, we already have 2 DNFs, so only 2 guys without points at the moment. While Vickers has now reached the pit lane. Herlock was pitting as well from the mediums. Poland's now even slower, 19.6. While Frelick manages 17.9, so the gap between the medium and the hard is pretty big now. Grandquist is not able to follow Frelick at the moment. Oh, as I say that, he's right behind him.
Yeah, so Frelick had managed to use just Herlock a bit as a blocker, hadn't he? But Herlock, in his fairness, didn't do too much to hold any of them up, and now Grandfist is right on the back with the RS as Poland's has pitted. So this is now the battle for the lead between second and third in the championship. They are absolutely level on points, and Grandfist is going to make a move and backs out of it on the brakes. Thought he was going for a dive bomb there into turn 1. Lap 18 of 59, and the championship battle is hotting up.
And I think even the medium compound tire runner are going to convert to a 2-stopper. The fresh tire is just too strong. The hard compound tire is the best, as it seems right now. While Maguire gets up to 5th position now, just behind his teammate, which shouldn't be the biggest of problems to overtake. But further than that, it's going to be quite difficult.
I mean, it depends how far he can go on these tires. I guess he's now on the same strategy as the guys on soft, so he's matching Frelick, Crankfist, and Platt effectively. So you think out of those guys, he's third, right? So if you match it up like that, then he's just got to get past his teammate in Poland as it stands. So that's going to be interesting to see how it plays out as Crankfist comes back then. At Frelick, DRS will be wide open down the front straight. Let's see what he does this time. This time he is close enough to have a go down the inside. Later on the brakes, he had the inside line, and now Frelick will use that to come back surely down into turn 4. Good drive in Royal Blue, but a bit of a squirm on the exit, and that should be enough to keep Crankfist ahead. DRS open, but of course high altitude, it means the slipstream will help a little bit as well. and Frelick has to settle in for second. Let's see what he does. Will he fight back, or will he just settle in and wait for his turn at the end of the race? That Super Venturi's been lightning all night.
Yeah, I think Grandcrest believes that he has more pace, otherwise he could have just stuck behind Frelick and just saved his push to pass towards the end of the race. But it seems like he's quite comfortable that he can go faster, as he might be afraid of Poland, who has done a very good middle sector last time around, being on the freshest tires. So with Poland's doing those sector times, I assume that he's not very much going for the one-stopper. He's gonna try to catch those guys in front now.
So, as a racer, though, Stephen, give us a bit of an insight. How much are these guys worried about Poland and the guys on the other strategy, and how much are they just focused on what they're doing? They're in the championship fight. Is it literally just I'm beating you, mate?
Well, every driver is very difficult. Is very different in that regard. It also depends if you have a race engineer or not. I think Grandcrest will have his team boss, Mark Frelick, as his race engineer, so he will update him on everything. With Frelick, I don't actually know if he has a race engineer now, so that always helps. As I think Grandcrest is very close to getting out of the DRS window.
Yeah, he's flying. To be fair to him, he is absolutely flying. Jan Grandcrest, that Super Venturi has been on rails all night, hasn't it? And Frelick just can't keep up with him. Poland's his personal best on the last lap. Maurice Krop's done the fastest middle sector now that he's pitted, following all of the shenanigans a few laps ago. We're on to lap 20, we're almost halfway through a race, but so much has happened already, including with the championship career. Luke Maguire, P5, he's done well to get back to P5 so far. As Frelick, he was the first on the first stint, he was the first one to start struggling with the rear tyres, and it looks like he's starting to struggle again, Stephen.
Yeah, it's difficult to see his lap times as he's invalidating his laps at the moment. But yeah, Poland's being on the 18.1, Butcher being on the 18.5, it seems like Frelick is struggling quite a bit, even with the DRS yet of the start of the lap. So struggling that early on, even on the hards, may suggest that he might even need to do 2 more stops if he really goes down the drain. While we have a move for P70, Herlock going past Joffert.
Yeah, so Joffert hasn't pitted. Joffert was on the hards, I believe, to start with. In the TTF, he started down at the back of the grid, so he's on hards that he started the race with. That's why he's where he is, but doing a decent job. In fairness, he's still in the 120, so only a second off some of the guys around him who have made a pit stop or on fresher tyres, so not bad at all in TTF.
We're doing a 20.7 while the car behind is doing an 18.7. You can see a very big drop off even for the hard compound tires.
Yes.
So
yeah,
that's some great insight as I'm going to do the Super League event in 2 days.
Always thinking, Stephen, always thinking.
Of course. So last time around, Jan Grandcrest was able to build up 5/10 more of a gap, while Poland is slowly catching to Frelick, but that's going to take a few laps. Let's see if he may be able to cool down the tires a little bit. We could see it in the FS2 car when we didn't push for a lap or two, the tires already improved. So that should be possible here as well on the hards.
Yeah, and he's going to need it too, because at the moment he's the slowest out the top 5, and in fact he's slower than just Perlock, who's in P7. He's slower than Jake Dennehan, who's down in P12. He's slower than Maurice Krop. He's slower than Lewis Bickers as well. He's not got an awful lot of pace at the moment. Shimon Frelick down to 1.7 behind Jan Grandcrest now, as the Super Venturi starts to pull away. And then Grandcrest at the moment looks as if he will be going to Brazil as championship leader, but plenty of time to go yet. Luke Maguire already had his issue spinning out when trying to make a move for the lead earlier on, and losing front wing, having to ditch his ultimate strategy that looked as if it was going to be so fruitful for him, but down in P5 and try and fight his way back into the race. He's still about 17.5 seconds off the race lead. He was about 16 seconds off the race lead 5 or 6 laps ago, so he's not losing any time to the race lead, but he's not gaining any time to the race lead either. He's looking now at his teammate 9 seconds up the road, thinking that's probably what he needs to get, P4, P3, just to give himself a chance into the final race. Worth reminding ourselves as well, Maguire missed Bahrain this season, the second race, so he's basically missed out on the championship points, and so has Jan Granqvist. He missed Canada and Great Britain as well. So Frederick, in his defence, hasn't finished outside points yet either. So let's not take anything away from Trim and Frederick. But so many different subplots that have happened in this championship as Maurice Croft goes up the inside of versus Miram into P13. So many subplots in this championship to look back on. And then you factor in all of the shenanigans at the start of this race, and you start to really paint a picture of everything that's happened this season.
Yeah, but for this race, it seems like Luke Maguire has the best setup combination for the race, as he's consistently doing very great laps. As we can see, he gained 0.8 of a second on Frelick this lap, 0.6 on his teammate, and almost 0.4 on Poland. So he's been one of the quickest guys all around, and he's been on those tires for the longest amount of time from the front guys. So the higher wings seem to pay off now, as Danahan is planning to do an overtake on Guzowski, and he succeeds.
Yeah, good move down the inside of the Hyperion into turn 1. I think we're about 14, 15 laps on this set of tyres, aren't we? Actually maybe a bit less, 13, 14. So probably another 10 laps, 9 laps will get them to a stage where they can put another set of hards on and get to the end of the race, especially as the fuel comes down, the car weight comes down, it's easier on the tyres, isn't it? So yeah, probably about 9 laps, I'm guessing, if Miram goes wide and loses out to Vickers. More points for Royal Blue in the team's standings.
Yeah, and last time around, once again, Luke Maguire being the fastest guy, but Poland's had a good lap, so it seems like Luke Maguire is the only guy who is able to do consistently fast laps, while the others do a fast lap and then the tires overheat. So that's going to be quite interesting towards the end of the race, as he has more than half of the race still to go. So plenty of time. I think Granqvist would be a big stretch to catch, because he's doing quite a good pace as well, but P2 might still be possible for Maguire.
Yeah, and obviously there's a big swing in points between 3rd and 5th where he is at the moment, so even if he could get to 3rd behind Frelick, he'd lose out with points, but it'd still only be 6 points off the championship lead if it was to be Granqvist, Frelick, Maguire, the top 3 at the end of today. At the moment, he's losing out on 14 points to Granqvist, so it'd be 11 points down going into Brazil, and that would be that would mean that he'd need Granqvist to hit some trouble in the season finale. Still plenty of time to go though. Way too early to start thinking about that. 26 laps, or lap 26 even, of 59 at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And Jan Granqvist, who continues to lead and has stretched that to 3 seconds now with Schumacher Frelick, who is struggling for pace, and Poland's closing in.
Yes, we can now see a fight in the stadium section. No drop going in to that corner. Oh, there we have Guzowski struggling with the rears now, and I think that should be a pretty easy overtake.
Yeah, DRS open wide down straight, like they can be from a baby. Medium tyres still for Guzowski as well, which might be what is holding him up. Crop down the inside and behind them, Vickers trying to make a move on Miram, or it might have been actually Miram on Vickers. Or a back marker. It could very well be a back marker as Tom Stevens comes in later.
So in general now, Poland is catching up to Frelick, and I think within the next, at maximum 5 laps, he should be on the tail of Frelick, as he's really starting to struggle now. Luke Maguire now starting to go into the higher 18s. And Grandquist and Poland's now as the fastest drivers. Poland's 6.2 seconds off the pace as they went over the line. Only 2.4 of Frelick.
Yeah, really interesting to see how these laps are yo-yoing about. Every time you think that one driver starts to get the upper hand on the people around him in the classification, then they seem to fall off. So it's very interesting seeing that yo-yo around as Jake Dennehan continues his charge back through the field, back past Tom van der Voort for P10 and the Silver Yoff next up the road.
Yeah, Jake Dennehan losing his front wing at the start of the race, having a lot more pace than the guys around him, has a lot of work to do to get back up to where he belongs. I think, let's see, he's 49 seconds off. I think a P6 would be the absolute minimum. Realistically, it would be P7 for him at the end of the race.
Yeah, of course, not too detrimental to his own championship. He's a part-timer, but crucially, he was in the lead and he was taking points off Grandquist and Frelick, for example, for Maguire. Now, obviously, that's changed with the incident, but you know, Frelick is so close to being wiped out by Dabrowski, wasn't he? So, or Guzowski, I beg your pardon. I think it was Guzowski who got hit by Dennehan into turn 1. So Dennehan's still charging back through. Super Venturi need the points as well in the team's championship because they're in their own little fight. 287 points. So they're not completely out of it if it all goes their way, but more importantly, R2F, Road Formula Racing, are in the hunt for P3, and that's Bickers past Guzowski for P13. Talking of team championship, Mobley Racing. Only 13 points down on THR into this race, and yeah, P2 at the moment and P13. Unfortunately for them, THR are P4 and P5 as Maguire pits.
Yeah, he's going for the undercut. 30 laps now with the higher grip of the track and the less grip and the less weight of the car. So he thinks that he can manage those tires for 30 laps, or he's gonna do a push right at the end of the race with another stop. Let's see, the tires have quite a big drop off. So it could be either one of those, while Frelick is now down into the 19th, so his tires are really starting to go now. As Poland's was 9/10 of a second faster on the last lap, so I think he could be close at the end of this lap already.
I guess it's the gap that Maguire had to flat sort of gives him that option of perhaps pushing and then needing an extra pit stop at the end if he needs it. Pascal Polenz is looking pretty good here though, isn't he? Now into the RS range of Schumacher.
Remember, he started on those medium compound tires, so he has the freshest tires out of the bunch there, and it shows. As he has the DRS open, but he's not gaining that much, which could mean that he's not using as much push to pass on that straight. Yeah, Frelick using every single millimeter of the track that's available to him.
Maguire straight out of the pits and straight away doing purple middle sector, purple last sector. So I think he is pushing. As Pascal Polenz, you say, you know, much fresher tyres. Of course, that means he'll have fresh tyres at the end of the race if there's an overlap in the pit window as well. So, you know, Pascal Polenz looking nice here for at least second. And potentially closing in on Grandquist later on, but that depends on how Grandquist tyres are doing. To be fair to Grandquist, still in 1:18.7s at the moment.
Yeah, Maguire went a whole second faster than the guys around him in the third sector. So that shows just the amount of mechanical grip he has there.
Yeah, I mean, Maguire's got to force his hand now, hasn't he? He's got to just go as fast as he can.
Yeah.
And hope that other people's tyres fall off enough that he can make that time up. Problem is he's gone slower still than Grandfist in the first sector, even with the fresher rubber. So he's got to do so much work in the middle sector, as he has just done 1 second faster in the middle sector.
Yeah, and now Poland's went through for P2, went past Simon Frelick, and I think he has the DRS even now, has a few back markers in front, which could help him or could cost him. But I think with the pace advantage Poland has, he will drive out of the DRS window pretty fast.
It'll be interesting to see now whether he can catch up with Grandfist. Here is Luke Maguire on his fresher tyres, DRS this time as well, and past Joseph Herlock. So that'll help his pace through the first sector as well, won't it? With the DRS wide open, and it was a stonking lap last time round, 1.3 seconds faster than anyone else.
Interestingly, not his personal best. I think that's still from the medium compound tire at the start of the race. But yeah, first sector now is 27.6 with the help of the DRS.
Yeah, and that's still 6 tenths faster than Grandfist was on that last time round. So I think Maguire might just be pushing. I think he'll take another pit stop at the end of this race.
Yeah, now Poland has actually the DRS from the left car, which should help him.
Yeah, and hopefully that lap car will get out of the way. That is the Hyperion of Guzowski, the lone Hyperion now after Dubrovsky crashed out earlier in the incident with Moritz Krop, of course. So Guzowski does pull off to the left nicely, and it leaves Poland and Frelick to carry on. Fastest lap of the race, and Nick Maguire 1:16.2, absolutely flying in the THR.
We have a yellow flag in sector 2, but what also happens, otherwise he would have had to overtake his teammate, or they would have had to use team orders on track. Now he's just gonna undercut him, and that's resolved.
Yes, yeah, totally agree. And I think it'll be interesting to see now how much time can he make up at the start of this stint when everyone else's tyres. Oh, look at Guzowski going wide in the background there. Everyone else's tyres start to fall off. They're trying to hit a target because they know they're going to have another stint of a similar length to do at the end of this race. Now, how much time can Maguire make up, and will he then go on a charge on different tyres at the end as Starini comes into the pits, I think, with tyres?
We shall see. He shouldn't overdo it, because otherwise the tyres will start to overheat. I mean, it has a lighter car now, so... But yeah, the fresh tyre, for now it holds on. He's at some points a second faster than the others in the middle sector alone. And I think he might even get Frelick now. But yeah, lap 29, I think that's a pretty certain 3-stopper now. I think the other guys would like to pit around lap 35 to go to the end on another set of hard compound tires.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that's pretty much nailed on from where they pitted on to end their first stint. They got it on the soft. It was Bickers then. Got past Tom Van Voort earlier. Now on the back of Silver's Joffer into turn 1. Should be pretty simple on these tyres, to be honest. He goes late. Will Silver see him? Just about. No contact. Nice move actually from those Bickers. Good driving from both drivers. Bickers up into P11, and Moshkov is the next one down the road. 6 seconds up the road though of this Bickers and the Royal Blue Racing. I tell you what, Poland's a bit slower on the last lap, but he was in the 1:17.8 the lap before. I know he had a bit of DRS help, but he's flying. To be fair to Pascal Poland, and he's still 6 tenths up on Jan Grandfist last time round. Luke Maguire right on the back of Dylan Platt now. And this works nicely. We know that Platt's got another pit stop, so Maguire already, basically, even if he does need to pit again, if he does kill these tyres, we know that Luke Maguire is going to be net P5.
Yeah, but Maguire has a lower chance to fry those tyres. he has the downforce. He can afford to push in the middle sector. It's not that harsh on the tires as for the other guys with the no downforce. So I think that's what this setup was meant to do. It's more like a race setup. And I think without the incident at the start, it could have been, I don't want to say easy, but I think he would have been the candidate to win it. So he's now less than 30 seconds away from the lead. So 23 seconds away from Frelick, so I think he's gonna undercut him for sure.
Oh,
As Frelick pits now.
Frelick pits. So, I mean, this really is crucial, isn't it? Let's see where he comes out compared to Morat. Let's see if Maguire can get to the end of the race. But of course, Frelick will have fresher tyres. Crucial thing is that Frelick seems to have struggled on his tyres more than anyone else. Big gap between Butcher and Maguire. Where's Maguire compared to Frelick? There's Maguire. There's Maguire. So in front of Frelick. But we know that Royal Blue is a little bit better in a straight line than the THR with the setups tonight. So let's see what Frelick can do. Can he get back past Luke Maguire?
If he wants to get by, he has to do it now, as the tires are pretty fresh. Not overheated. So
yeah, totally agree, because he struggled, hasn't he? More than those around him.
And the thing is, if he's able to overtake Maguire now and keep him behind, it's gonna help him, because we think that Maguire is going to do another stop. But it seems like Maguire is already pushing more than Frelick. So that could be the sign that Frelick plans to go to the end on these tires, while Granquist now pits from the lead. Was already losing a bit of time to Poland, while his in-lap was pretty fast. So he still got some life in them. Should retain the lead. And Maguire now has to overtake, or first he has to catch Jan Granquist, then he has to overtake him, and then he has to overtake him once more at the end of his next pit stop phase. So that's quite a big task.
Yeah, Maguire's pulled away from Frelick as well though. I know it's Frelick's outlap, but I was expecting Frelick to be right with Maguire down the straight. Really surprised to see Maguire, even though he's on those slightly older hard tyres, he's able to pull away as Frelick comes out of the pits. Now Frelick will start to come back, though, you feel, after now he's got a lap under his belt on those tyres. But this will come down really to what Frelick's tyres are like at the end, or what the heat in the tyres are like at the end, because we've seen him struggling for traction more than Maguire, more than Granquist as well. So what's that? So he is closer to Granquist than me, you're right. That's incredible. Poland's now leading ahead of Chris Butcher. They're on the alternate strategy. Let's see when they pit and what tyres they put on as well, because they could be really dangerous towards the end of the race.
Butcher now dying off, so I think it's rather Poland's being the interesting guy. He can still drive in the mid 118s, which is pretty good pace. He stayed out longer in the first stint as well. So he's doing the same thing. He wants to have the freshest tires right at the end of the race. So the question is, how long can he stay out and which pace can he go while staying out? I can see Granquist is slightly faster than what Maguire and Frelick do.
But interestingly, Maguire in the middle sector did a 30.5, and he's been on these tyres for almost 10 laps now. Granquist on his fresh set of tyres did a personal best in the middle sector, still a tenth and a half slower. Just to show how good that THR is in the middle of the lap.
Yeah, but I think it's mainly due to the THR having more downforce, but also I think Granquist is not pushing as much as Maguire, as Granquist wants to go to the end with these tires. He has no real reason to push at the moment, because if he pushes now and if he destroys his tires right now, he will be vulnerable to Poland at the end, who's still staying out with Butcher pitting now. So Granquist is doing a personal best of 16.9. That's 1.4 seconds faster than Poland's. If he continues to do that, it's fine.
Yeah, it's a lot faster than Maguire as well.
Yeah, I think Maguire now starts to slow down, with his middle sector not being as impressive anymore.
Frelick as well, faster than Maguire, 3/10 as well. So Frelick will come back at Maguire here. But crucially, Maguire now back in the picture, and it looked like he was going to be shipping a lot of points to his two championship rivals.
Yeah, so in the end, P5 might be the maximum. It will heavily depend on what he does when he goes into the final set of tires. And especially the question will be, what tire is he going on to? Is he maybe going on to the medium right at the end with a very light car? But yeah, Grunquist is stretching his muscles right now.
Yeah, there's another personal best middle sector, and that's now more like what Maguire has been doing anyway. 30.527 in the middle sector. Jan Grunquist is flying. And it means that Polenz will have to do something pretty special on his last set of tyres. There's about a 13-second gap between Polenz and Grunquist. So Polenz we expect to come out between Frelick and Butcher. Although Butcher, having pitted early, might undercut Polenz. I think it was too big a gap. Let's see how long Polenz stays out. Fastest final sector of the race now for Jan Grunquist, because he does a 1:16.7, another personal best. Grunquist flying and looks as if he's in control of this race.
Yeah, but that's a bit much at the moment. He has it in his hands, so I don't know. I think if I were him, I would now start to conserve these tires, as he has a big lead to Maguire and Frelick. And Polenz is not doing amazing lap times compared to him. He's almost 2 seconds faster now, so...
But we saw the Super Venturi a lot faster at the start of the race, and is it, how much of it is both him and Dennehan, because Dennehan's just done a very similar lap, and Bretti's done a 1:16.3, so Dennehan's slightly faster. How much of it is it that those two are pushing, or how much of it is just fresh tyres and low fuel load?
Well, the fresh tires seem to be quite a big advantage, and that's usually the phase where I start looking after the tires, because with the extra grip you have, if you look after them in that phase, you have the extra grip for longer. So Grunquist doing an 16.7, 1.7 seconds faster now than Polenz once more. So I think he might be through this one.
Yeah, so we're still waiting to see what Polenz does when he comes in for his final stop, because there's no way he's going to the end on this set of tyres, surely. We're looking at the battle then for P3. It's between Maguire and Simon Frelick. P1 and P2 in the championship, and Frelick's closing in as I think Dylan Platts got past Tom Parker after making his pit stop. But Frelick and Maguire now close. Frelick was up in the DRS range. I think he's just dropped out of it through the middle sector, and now he's just closing back in, or a bit of traffic as well for Maguire, but it also held up. Frelick as well, so actually probably 6.5 than the other for those two. So Maguire still got a nice buffer over Frelick in terms of Frelick not getting DRS. But is the back marker give Frelick the DRS is the question, because he is closing. No, he didn't, but he's closing down straight because of the setups anyway.
Yeah, the interesting thing is, with Maguire pushing so much at the start of the stint, I think he's paying the price right now, as he used more of his tires. And that might not even be the fastest way to go, so I think not pushing throughout the whole stint might even be the most intelligent thing you could do. Something Pascal Polenz has done, and he's in the low 1:18s now. So right at the end of the stint, Polenz seems to gain some extra pace, and he's staying out so much longer than the other guys now.
I guess what you've got to look at, if you look Maguire, is okay, even if Frelick goes through, yes, he's the championship rival, but you've got your teammate behind you in Chris Butcher. Is he going to give you too much trouble? Probably not. So you're looking at P4 net.
Yeah. So I think with the pace Polenz is still doing, P2 should be pretty safe, even if Luke Maguire and Simon Frelick get by. I think he should be, well, Butcher has pitted quite late as well. I think he should pit before Chris Butcher is in undercut range. But as Luke Maguire is still set to make another pit stop and Frelick being on much older tires than him, then I think it should be a pretty safe second if he doesn't have any problems till the end.
Yeah, a long way to go. There's still lap 42 of 59. Just to recap what's happened in this race. We had contact between all three championship rivals on the first lap, and then all sorts of carnage as Maguire tried to make a move for the lead into turn one. Spun, lost control, into the wall, lost his front wing. That was before Jake Dennehan then lost his front wing in a contact with Tom van der Voort. We've got Grangfish doing nicely, but starting on the softs as Maguire goes wide and allows Frelick to close in. Grangfish doing nicely, but started on softs. So that's allowed Pascal Polenz to lead at the moment, although we were expecting him to make another pit stop before the end. Probably onto the mediums now, isn't it? All the softs, if he can get another few laps out. Probably the mediums and able to push them.
Yeah, I don't think that he's going to the softs, but yeah, you could see Maguire going over that anti-cut into the stadium section. That's been pretty deadly in FS2, so it seems like it's not that great for the Super League car as well.
Oh,
as he gets held up now, and that's really gonna help.
That's not good at all. You don't want to see that. And there was a contact on the front wing. Who was it who went round? I think it was the drive car, potentially of Miran. It was Miran. And yes, allowed Frelick through. Luke Maguire will be seething about that. Put a driver from the back marker, contact. A lot of blocking through the first three corners, and Frelick goes through.
Pretty unlucky there. The lap car was way slower than Maguire anticipated. So yeah.
Got a championship battle. You've got to be more aware of what's around you. The blocking was bad enough, but then to initiate the contact was really poor. So that's two leading drivers in this race have been hit. And is that Maguire then thinking, I'm going to cut my losses, I'm going to pit now? It is. Yeah, does he need any damage seen to is the question. He did it his front wing. Oh, Luke Maguire is going through it in this race, isn't he? So that's going to drop him behind Platt as well.
Yeah, but he should be able to overtake him quite easily if he... I think he will stay ahead. Yes, he should.
Now he's got to really work in the last 15 laps, 16 laps to catch up to his teammate Chris Butcher.
Yeah, but that last stint really didn't work out. He used way too much of the tire life right at the start of the stint. Was putting in some amazing lap times, but at the end he just fell off massively.
He knew he had that buffer to Platt though. He knew that if he was going to try and get onto the podium, he had to try and do something. I don't think that contact helped. I feel like that might have been a bit of damage being repaired as well. Into the pits then, Pascal Polenz for his final stint. Now we saw Maguire went back out on hards. Let's see what Polenz does. Does he go onto the mediums? He does go onto the mediums. So Polenz is going to be attacking all the way to the end of this race. 15 laps to go.
Yeah, it will be interesting if he's going to come out in second or third. It's going to be close, and I think it's third. Yes, it is. So what he has to do now is just being calm, not overstress the tires on that outlap, stay right behind him, and then just overtake him on the next start-finish straight. Or is he going to try it now?
Pascal Polenz could be getting an early Christmas card from Jan Grangfist at the end of this race. Running outside then, into turn 4. What a move that is from Pascal Polenz on the fresher tyres. And Frelick already starting to struggle on those tyres, 6/10 down on Grangfish. So at the moment, if it was to stay like this, Grangfish 25 points would take a pretty sizable lead actually into the championship finale.
Yeah, I think Jan Grönqvist is a very big Pascal Polens fan at the moment. As Polens now gives everything to be able to get Frelick out of that DRS, and that might even be enough to keep, it should be 1.3 seconds, he's out of DRS. With the purple final sector, while Maguire now puts in the purple middle sector, so again, he's attacking right from the get-go. Let's see if this tire survives that.
Yeah, so just to fill you in, if it did finish like this, it would be Grönqvist leading by 9 points over Simon Frelick, and then Maguire would drop to third. A further 2 points down, he'd be 11 points off the championship lead. So a big swing, a big swing.
And with the form that Jan Grönqvist has at the moment, apart from Singapore, he's finished first or second in every race since his little break in Canada and Great Britain. So Jan Grönqvist is on quite a good form. So if he's able to keep that, he's of course going to be the big favorite going into the final round.
Pascal Polens already 0.3 faster, no, even more, 1.3 faster in the middle sector. So he's working at chasing Grönqvist down already, absolutely flying. 1:16.2. That was 2.2 seconds faster on that lap than the leader.
But I think Grönqvist either had a mistake in the middle sector or he had traffic, because his middle sector was very slow compared to all the other drivers. While we have Danahan now in the hunt of Herlock. At the moment in a sandwich, oh no, it's actually not a sandwich. Just two very similar looking cars.
Very similar looking cars, Stephen. We've had this issue. Oh yeah, don't worry, you won't be the first.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also driving a red car, so.
Yeah, no, this is more Scott for TTF, and in front is Joseph Herlock here in the red arrow. But yeah, two red cars sandwiching. Jake Danahan is trying to forge his way back into some decent points for Super Venturi, and he's done a decent job, because he basically forced himself into an extra pit stop where Luke Maguire actually, ruined his alternate strategy, but pitted on the same lap as some of the soft tyre runners as Cross goes a bit deep in the hunt for P8. Yeah, Danahan forced himself into a stop 2 laps after making a pit stop, so really ruined his race there and then. But you know, a top 7 would be very nice indeed for the Super Venturi, although he looks a little bit more under attack than he is on the attack at the moment.
Yeah, and it might get even worse for Frelick, as he's losing almost a second to Chris Butcher right behind him. So it might get even better for Jan Grönqvist, as the first of the THR is going to arrive pretty soon on the back. But first, let's see if Jake has enough push to pass and enough top speed with the DRS. Oh, it doesn't look like he's going to try it right now. I think he's just chilling around right now.
Let's see if he dives on the inside. I don't think he does. No, but he's a lot better on the brakes into T1 than Herlock was. So Danahan's still pushing, and then all of a sudden, look, as I say that, Clark almost loses it, all out of shape, through turn 3, over the curb. Did not keep out the wall in the end.
Yeah, that anti-cut there, that big sausage at the exit is very, very dangerous. You can lose it pretty easily on that.
Yeah, tell you what, you're right as well. Frelick really under the cosh now. Chris Butcher in the THR could do his teammate a bit of a favour. It would put his teammate second going into Brazil if he could get ahead of Frelick. 1.4 now the gap at the end of that lap. 2 tenths faster than the Uruguay racing in front. And of course that helps as well with the team championship, pretty much would seal it for THR. Not quite officially, but would be as good as, really, with the trouble that Lewis Bickers has had as well. He's down in P11 at the moment, and 4 seconds down at the moment on Tom Parker, who's in P10 on his return.
Yeah, but overtaking won't be as easy. As you can see, Butcher and Maguire losing so much time every lap in that first sector, but they are mainly gaining it back in the final sector, in the technical part.
And whilst Frelick and Butcher begin to trip over each other, Luke Maguire's way faster than both of them, 1.4 seconds faster than his teammate, 1.6 seconds faster than Frelick. As Dennehan goes wide, Croft doesn't need another opportunity, and Dennehan falls back down to P9 and in the Super Venturi.
Yeah. Luke Maguire is in a difficult situation now. He has to overcome quite a big gap, but also he has to look after this tire, because the other tire was pretty dead at the end of the stint, so he has to make sure that this won't happen again.
I guess what he's got as a saving grace is that he's got such a big gap to the flat in P6 that he can maybe afford to take that risk and try and push for P4. Whereas obviously if you're in a situation like Frelick is, you've got Butcher right behind you, you know, he's got to nurse those tyres to the end. He can't afford to make to back off.
Last lap again, 1:17.1, that's 1.3 faster than Frelick, but Butcher has actually lost 2/10 last lap, so maybe, I think a few laps ago he did a 17, I think he might have done it for that lap, or maybe he had some traffic.
And the other thing you've got to think of as well is dirty air through the mid-sector especially will not help those tyres too much. It doesn't matter what setup you've got in the car, dirty air does not help your tyres stay cool.
Yeah, but I think now he's pretty close towards the DRS. I don't know if you could switch to a Butcher now and have a look if he's got the wing open.
Yeah, he's really close. But not close.
No, he has it open.
He has got it open, isn't he?
And that's gonna help him now in his quest to overcome
118.5 for Frelick last time round. Butcher 117.6 and 117.1 again for Maguire. So this is going back to what you said at the start of the race. Maguire consistently fast. Other drivers are able to go fast for 2 or 3 laps, but Maguire consistently fast. That's bringing him back into that fight. Under 10 seconds now the gap between Butcher and teammate Maguire. Back with Morris Klopp, P8 against P7. There's Herlock in front, and this time Klopp's got the run. This time Klopp's going to go to the inside, and this time Klopp's going to make a move without making any contact into Zone 1, down the inside, TTF into P7, Herlock onto P8, and now Dennehan trying to find his way back up will try and attack the red arrow.
Yep, nicely made, pretty straightforward. DRS in the second straight helps him to defend as now. Butcher is pretty close in that final sector. That extra downforce should help there. I think that's not close enough. He will be able to not lose time on the straight, but I don't think that that's enough to actually gain time on Frelick. Let's see. He's a little faster, but not by much.
No, he's not. It's going to come down to, he's got to be right behind Frelick, isn't he, coming out the final corner. We've seen Frelick start to struggle with traction at this stage of the stint, the last 2 stints that he's been on, and you feel like that's going to be Butcher's best chance, or maybe even being right behind out turn 3. At the moment though, you can see where that THR superior under traction and closing up to that road we're racing. At last lap, 6/10 was the difference between Polenz and Grangquist in terms of lap time, so Polenz still closing in, although they're on a similar lap time at the moment. Reminder, Polenz pitting late for the medium tyres, but those tyres are going to start screaming soon enough, aren't they? Mistake for Frelick. Too much curve on the inside, he had a wiggle, a bit of understeer, and that's going to put Butcher right in his back. The thing is, Frelick may even get DRS from the back mark in front.
That's what I wanted to say. So, let's see if the wing opens. It could be the saving grace. I think it's open. Yes, it is.
Yeah, it is.
So, this will have saved. Or will it have saved him? Butcher shows himself, but he cannot get by. The extra downforce also helps you under braking because you can brake a lot later. But the mistake wasn't enough yet. The question is as well, as the race is getting close to ending. How much push to pass do either driver have?
Absolutely, absolutely, and it's a bit of a shame that we can't see that actually, isn't it? Because that would be that'd be quite interesting to see, because that is obviously strategic in how you use it between driver to driver. But it looks as if Butcher is right on the back of Frelick now and not going to let that Royal Blue get away again. Maguire trying to close in, but about 9.5 seconds still down. Even though he is faster per lap, he's running out of lap time, laps to do it. Lap 54 now, the lead is on Jan Grandfist, just ticked over. Lap 54 of 59. As
He's pretty close now. He's pretty close now, and now it should be a done deal, as Frelick now doesn't have the DRS and slipstream from the car in front.
Look how defensive he's gone already, right to the inside wall, down the pitch straight, flicking out to the left now. Then Butcher, he's going to have to go the long way round. Demoting Frelick. How brave will Frelick be on the brakes? He's got a championship to fight for and he can't hold on. Chris Butcher for THR into P3, and that is the ultimate strategy, working beautifully for the THR. Frelick running out of tyre life, you feel, with the overheating issues. And yeah, there's nothing he can do. Chris Butcher into P3. That will put Maguire back into P2 net in the standings. Grandfist's lead getting bigger by the lap. Grandfist, by the way, is now starting to match Pascal Polen's lap time. So it looks as if that little challenge that Polenz is starting to put on those medium tyres is starting to wear a little bit thin.
Yeah, and even if Polenz would gain 0.6 per lap now, it wouldn't be enough.
A look from Frelick.
Yeah, but Frelick is pretty close. It could be a chance for the second straight, as he has quite a bit more top speed. He's still in the DRS, so that's still very dangerous for Butcher. It opens now, it might even be enough for this straight. Right at the end, they could be side by side going into the corner. And they are. And he's even ahead. And that's enough for Frelick. 6/10 weren't enough for Chris Butcher. And now Frelick has a second dose of DRS. And that's all the work gone down the toilet for Butcher. He has to do it again.
Yeah, that'll drive THR mad as well, wouldn't it? As you said, he'd done all the hard work and now he's got to do it again. 5 laps to go, Grandfist still leading, and actually Polenz starting to pull back in again. Half second faster on the last lap. Gap now under 5 seconds, or did flicker under 5 seconds briefly before Grandfist pulled that back out. So still plenty of life to go as Frelick with a big slide through the S's. Big slide. That is a leery looking race car at the moment. Butcher closing back in.
Yeah. The thing is, Butcher has to be a lot closer at the end of the at the beginning of the straight to have that chance, and you could see it that he's every time he's very close, right at the end of the final sector. And now let's see, does he want to invest that push to pass? It doesn't look like it. Not this time around. Maybe he's saving now towards the end with the push to pass.
Yeah,
as I think Frelick used a bit of it out of the corner, to be sure.
Oh, a big slide that'll let Frelick off the hook at least this lap, won't it? So yeah. I know he's closing, but that little slide just took away the potential for a little dive into turn 4 on this lap. At 56 to 59, which is still pushing, and Maguire now under 7 seconds from this battle. He's not going to close in time unless they really hold each other up.
Well, Maguire's times are increasing quite a bit, so...
That's a Dennehan DNF as well, so Super Venturi in the race for third in the standings. Match. Is that Maguire out as well? Oh my goodness, Maguire's out of the race.
What happened there? Disconnect? Or...
Championship leader. Well, that's shocking news. Luke Maguire, championship leader coming into this race, has retired in the closing stages. Yeah, that is a DNF for Luke Maguire. And with Jan Grandfist looking likely to win this race as Chris Butcher makes a move in the THR, looking down the inside of Simon Frelick. Frelick gets pushed wide. No contact, nice clean racing, but Frelick falls down to P4. But that almost rules Maguire out the championship, doesn't it? With Granqvist looking on course to win the race. He's going to be a long, long way down. He's going to be on 193 points, and Granqvist looks as if he's going to move on to 215.
And don't forget, that's going to have a major impact as well on the constructors.
Yeah, absolutely. You've got Royal, Frelick in P4, and obviously Vickers as well in P8 as well. So, disaster for both THR and Luke Maguire. THR will still be in the lead of the team's championship, but Royal will be able to close in a little bit there as Tom Parker pits again with 2 laps to go. So I wonder whether Parker and Dennehan might have got together because they were in the Parker part of the road.
No, maybe Parker had the gap and wants to go and get a fastest lap for the team.
Potentially, very, very potentially. So Parker P9 at the moment, lap 58 or 59. Frelick's trying to come back, but we still got, to be fair, Poland 6/10 faster than Granqvist. Don't think he's going to be able to make a move though. As Frelick has a look around the outside of Butcher, can't get it done. Good defence from Chris Butcher. Another chance with the DRS for Frelick. This really now is looking like Frelick and Granqvist in the championship battle.
Yeah,
so this could be crucial.
Also, the extra position now for Frelick would mean quite a big point swing as well in the constructors, as those 2 teams are fighting. So that's quite intense now for Butcher, as he knows that he has to carry the team now. And losing that place would hurt twice, because the other team would score more than. Let's see, it's going to be the final lap next time around on the start-finish straight. So I think both of them are going to use every single bit of push-to-pass they have left, as Frelick's rears are now screaming.
Big slide.
And those tires are done now. I think that's done. He's overused them. I think they might even be below the 56 or 55% at the rear, because percent-wise the rears are going off way faster than the fronts, but he's gaining so much time. But will he have the traction out of those slow corners? He's hit the anti-cut. He's hit him quite aggressive.
So hard, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think he wouldn't have had the traction anyway, as we can see Jan Granqvist going through the middle sector now, having quite a big lead over those 2.
Yeah,
Poland's
it's a massive
being quite
night.
close.
It's a massive night for Jan Granqvist. Poland isn't going to close in to come into the final sector. Jan Granqvist started the night P3 in the championship, level with Simon Frelick, 3 points behind Luke Maguire. Well, whilst everyone else struggled, Jan Granqvist in the Super Venturi may have fallen to P6 on the first lap, may have been in trouble, but he came back through, and Jan Granqvist with supreme pace takes the championship lead to the season finale in Brazil. Jan Granqvist wins the Mexican Superlights from Pascal Polenz, who was pretty special himself on the alternate strategy. The THR coming in 3rd, but it's not the one that we thought it would be. It's not Luke Maguire, it's Chris Butcher. Could be crucial at the end of the season for the team's championship. That's Butcher in P3, and then Simon Frelick goes into the season finale, P2 in the standings with 4th. Dylan Platt will come across the line in 5th, although Moritz Kropp has really closed in to him. Yeah. But another good result for Dylan Platt. That's 2 6ths and now a 5th.
What I can see as well, Luke Maguire, he may have DNF, but he was in P15 with the fastest lap. But now Tom Parker has taken that away, so that's 1 point less for those guys.
Yeah, Maguire actually may have retired late enough to be classified as well. We'll have to check that one out. This Vickers trying to make a move across the line, couldn't quite do it on Herlock. He missed out only just for Royal Blue. So that's Herlock P7, Vickers P8. We saw Parker come into the pits, he's P9, and Van der Waal will be P10, closing out the top 10. But Jan Granqvist with a stunning job then to take victory in Mexico, and that is huge for the champion. There you go, classification is up. The end of 59 laps, only 8 on the lead-in lap. It was Jan Granqvist for Super Venturi taking the championship lead into Brazil ahead of Pascal Poland, Chris Butcher P3 for THR, Sean Freya P4, and then Platt, fantastic, in P5. Maurice Croft had an eventful race, but he's P6 ahead of Joseph Herlock. Lewis Vickers P8 again, very eventful for him as well. Tom Parker P9 on his return with Red Arrow Racing, and Tom Van Watford Drag Racing P10. Silver Yoffe kept his nose clean and comes 11th ahead of Mateusz Kozłowski. Perseus Miran P13 didn't keep his nose clean, and I'm sure he'll have a trip to the DC. Dan Hurt P14, and the last of the finishers. There is the main headliner, Luke McGuire, championship leader coming into the night, retires along with Jake Dennehan, Igor Starengi, Mateusz Dabrowski, and Sandeep Singh, who retired right at the start. Well, Stephen, a really eventful evening. Just sum that up, if you can.
Yeah, pretty intense. The three championship rivals giving it everything they can. The two-stopper, like expected, the tires were pretty fragile when pushing, so it's been a bit of a Mickey Mouse game. Who's going to push when? Is he going to pay afterwards? Very technical, but in the end, the fastest guy won.
So, just to update you, there you go, next up there's the calendar, Brazil, the last race, Interlagos, 1st of November, 2 weeks from now. And that is where we will crown our champion. It's gone to the season finale, which is fantastic. The team's championship, I have it, and don't take this for gospel, but I have it that THR are now on 346 points, that the gap is being cut down by Royal Blue to just 8 points there on 338. What I'm going to do is I'm going to drag in our race winner, now a new championship leader, Jan Granqvist, for an interview and try and dissect that race for us, because it started a little bit sketchy, Jan, but it turned into a pretty perfect night for you. Obviously, Luke retiring at the end and Shimon falling to P4. It means you've got pretty nice lead in the championship going into the final round. I make it 12 points. I might be wrong. I've been wrong before, but having had the start that you did, could you have thought it could have gone any better than that?
Yeah, honestly, that was probably one of the most unpredictable of the races that I've done this season. Going into it, there was a huge debate on just how much wings we should have gone with downforce and all that, and I think THR nailed it, but obviously what happened to Luke, it took him out of contention. But other than that as well, racing Simon and Pascal as well. Pascal, huge props to him. He was keeping me honest until the very end. I had to actually push for the victory then. And I was not expecting the win after how poorly my start went, honestly.
It was a dicey first half, I think, to say the least. We saw both yourself and Shimon getting together a little bit. Both of you doing well actually to keep it pointing in a straight line, and obviously Luke was coming around the outside, and you had Jake was in the mix as well, and it was all a little bit dicey, and it felt like it was the finale of the season. So when you've got all of that going on, and then you sort of got to calm yourself. I mean, you fell back, didn't you? Because you ended up on the grass at one point, and you've got to calm yourself and get back going, and you had the tyres thrown up their usual mystery. So, how are you calming yourself down in that situation when you know what's on the line, and you know then that people are falling out around you? You saw Luke going into the wall, and how do you assert yourself on that situation? Because everything was happening at once.
Yeah, I think there are many ways that people cope with those sorts of situations. For me, the best thing is we've got an awesome team always behind me. I've always got Marco, their race engineer, in me and helping me through the races. And we always have all of our drivers in communication with each other, so we know what's going on. And that way also we can sort of talk our way through what to do. And in terms of emotions, obviously, I got a bit heated. Personally, going into the first lap, I really wanted to keep that P2 that I'd already had, but obviously didn't happen. I tried to squeeze Simon out, as you said, and that ended up just biting me back after in the straight after. But for me, massive thanks to Marco for race engineering me.
And in fairness to Marco as well and the whole team, that both cars looked like rocket ships tonight. Obviously, front row lockout in qualifying, and two of the fastest cars on track in the race as well. What's the game plan going into Brazil? Are you the same as you always are, or with the gap that you've now got, is there a little bit of savviness going on?
I'd say it's mostly the same going into the final race. Obviously, we've got room to breathe now, so in terms of that, I feel a little bit more stress-free, not having to think about having to absolutely win it or bin it. So, I'm feeling good going towards Brazil. Well,
Jan, congratulations on the victory tonight. You put yourself in the best position going into the finale. Still all to play for, but you couldn't have done any more. So congratulations and enjoy the victory.
Yeah, thanks.
All right, let's bring in P2 in the championship now. Then Shimon Frelick, who had an up and down race as well. And we were just talking to Jan Shimon about that first lap, where it all could have ended so badly for all three of you, really. And in the end, you all managed to keep it going in the right direction. P4 on the day, P2 in the championship going into Brazil, but still everything to play for. Just talk us through your race. If you can hear us. Maybe a few issues for Shimon.
Hello, sorry.
There he is.
My microphone cut off because I unplugged my wheel. I was not expecting to be near the front in qualifying. I just went into the race, just whatever happens, and I get third, which, to be honest, I was happy with because it's a pretty good starting position in Mexico with the long straight. So on the first lap, I was just like, I'm going for it, and it didn't really work out like I wanted, but I don't remember lap one that much, but I think I got Jan in the end. And then after the first round of pit stops, Luke and Jake had their incident, and it meant I was right behind Jake. Or was it? No, I think it was still on the first stint. I don't remember what was happening in the race. It was
a lot happened, Shimon. A lot happened.
For me, it was a very long race because of on the first stint, Luke and Jake had the incident, which meant I closed up to Jake, and we got to traffic after I think 1 or 2 laps. And while passing the traffic, Jake had the incident with one of the people who have.
This was into turn 1, right? The Hyperion that went skittling across your front wing. And
I forgot that happened. Right? I forgot that happened as well. I was scared. I just see a car spinning in my right mirror. And I just thought, let's just go straight. So I think that's because I got Jake at the exit of the pit lane after our pit stops. So after that, he passed me, and we encountered traffic, and Jake had the incident then in the turn 5 or 6, and I went into the back of them, which meant I had damage for the rest of like 40 laps, and from then it was just a pretty painful race, I would say, because I lacked a bit of pace because of that, which I think it cost me third, but I'm not really sure. But yeah, the championship I think is pretty much Jan's to take now. I don't think I've got pace to fight it out in Brazil. But let's see what happens.
Well, look, either way, Shimon, you scored in every round so far this season. Another strong race today, P4, even though you said you weren't expecting anything qualifying. It's a season to take under your wing and be very proud of. So, congratulations. You're still in the fight. Still plenty can happen. You never know what's going to happen. Congratulations on P4. And we'll catch up with you in Brazil, no doubt.
Yep, thank you.
Right. Last person we're going to talk to. I can't believe I'm going to say this to him, but I can't believe what happened. Luke, what happened?
Well, at the start, that's my own fault. But yeah, we had a great car today, and that was 100% the win was on the cards. With our, I know we went full wings and no one else did it with us, but it was 100% the way to go in the race for the fastest car around the lap. And once we got out, we were about to go into the lead. I just pulled too quickly with the DRS open. I've done it loads of times and it's sticked, and this time it just came underneath me, and yeah, that was going to ruin the race. But we recovered quite well. We switched to a 3-stop, tried to just keep pushing the tires, and I think we were going to. I think we were trying to catch Chris and Simon for P3, but yeah. So the Irish internet got the best of me and Jake by the looks of it, and it wasn't even a server issue. My whole internet went down, and I think his did too. So. There's nothing we could have done, and you know what? If I was leading and that happened, they would have been worse. So it's not the end of the world.
That's of all the times, though. I mean, it's not what you want, and especially when you have a look at, and obviously going back to the incident at the start as well. When you look at what Pascal did on the same strategy, I take it that makes it a little bit more bitter as well.
Oh, well, he did it on the same strategy with higher wings, which I think we would have been quicker than even him.
Yeah.
So yeah. But look, we had a bad car here anyway. Our engine was only 47% with the most of the grid on 100% engines. So we had a bit of a mistake there on the development. But we have a brand new transmission on 100% engine for Brazil, and we're just going to enjoy the last round, and not too much pressure on it. I think we just want to head for the teams, and that's all we really set out at the start of the year for anyway, was get THR up into Super League, and then we'll be happy enough with that.
Well, look, that's the thing, isn't it? Is despite what happened, you still got an 8-point gap, if my maths are right, which they could be wrong. I think you still got an 8-point gap in the teams championship. Both THRs looked fast today. Chris looked as if he was on good pace as well. And you're still in the championship. Anything can happen. We've seen it before in all the way through GPVWC. Anything can happen. You said that you were taking it a bit easier into Brazil, a bit less pressure. But when you have a look at everything that's happened in the championship, you missed Bahrain as well. What can you take from it? And then, as you said, are you just sort of focused on next season already a little bit?
Not focused on next season at all, to be honest. No, I take it race by race, but I need to fix. There's some silly issues I've had this year that've been in lead of the race a handful of times, and have either dropped it or penalties, or just it's like, I mean, the last 2 rounds have been I've false start in Japan, and then just going to the lead here for without the disconnection, it would have been probably a guaranteed win, and if nothing against Jan, I just think we had a better car for the race today. But yeah, no, I just need to I'm still gonna practice as much as I usually do for Brazil, but I'm just gonna take it with no pressure, and hopefully that makes me perform a bit better, because I feel like the pressure has gotten to me a little bit lately.
Well, look, it's been a fab season. Between the 3 of you, we've had so much fun. So, don't get your head down. Hopefully we'll see you back in Brazil, and the 3 of you can give us the fight that we're all hoping for, because the first few laps tonight were just unreal. So, commiserations, and I'm gutted that that's what happened to end your race tonight. But fingers crossed, all will be good in Brazil, and we'll see the 3 teams and the 3 of you back up the top. Cheers, Luke.
Cheers. Thank you.
Well, Stephen, thank you for joining me tonight. It's been great to have you alongside. That brings us to an end for the penultimate race. in the Superlights season. We are back in 2 nights' time, of course, for the Super League, which I believe you'll be in, Stephen. So, yeah, 2 nights' time for Super League. And then next week, we get to the season finale of FS2 and FS1, 2 weeks' time. Exactly, we will know who the champion is. It looks as if it may well be Jan Granqvist after a fantastic night for the Super Venturi. But for now, thank you very much, Stephen. Good night from Stephen. Good night from me.